If you've been on social media at all on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day, you've probably heard about a big snowstorm hitting the South for this coming weekend. Well, there's a good chance, but there's still a lot of questions we've got to answer. Hey there, friends. I'm meteorologist Shane Smith. It is Monday, January 19th, 2026, and you've probably seen a ton of maps and graphics like this today from different meteorologists, different influencers. And you'll notice I didn't put total numbers on there. Yes, you can see the legend at the bottom. But this is just one model's take and one output of that model. Most of these models run 4 times a day, and each time they're going to show you something different. And if you're showing one of these or seeing one of these flying around, it's clickbait. Now, not saying it can't happen, but the chances of us seeing that kind of a snowstorm in eastern Kentucky are rare. It can happen, but we just don't know yet exactly what we're dealing with. Here's what we do know. We know that there is enough agreement by enough models that there is going to be some kind of strong wintry system rolling somewhere through the southeast this coming weekend. Likely the biggest impact days in Kentucky, mainly Saturday and Sunday, although it could start Friday depending on which model you're looking at. One of the big limiting factors we always deal with winter weather in Kentucky is, do we have the cold air in place? To get a big snow in Kentucky, you need cold air there ahead of the fact. Well, we're going to have that this time. And there is definitely winter weather possible, but we don't know the exact kind yet. It could be snow, it could be sleet, it could be freezing rain. If this storm goes far enough north, it could be plain rain. If it goes far enough south and the cold suppresses the track down around the Gulf, we may get nothing but just cold air. So there's still a lot of questions. We don't know the track yet. We don't know where the precipitation types are going to set up, and we don't know how much. And it's going to take a couple more days to nail that down. We'll start talking totals in that 3 day time frame, sometime around Wednesday. But in the meantime, we're looking at trends and we're looking at new data as it comes in to see how it builds upon itself. Now, let's talk about what's going on right now. And it's just flipping cold out there. It is 21 degrees right now in Laurel County as I am recording this, and we are going to drop like a rock through the overnight. In fact, we're going to wake up into the single digits in eastern Kentucky, at least as far as the wind chill is concerned and the actual air temperature. Our next big weather maker, not even on the board yet, and in fact, right now, most of the U.S. is quiet. It's the calm before the storm. Let's enjoy it while we can. All right. Before we get to the big winter weather maker that everybody wants to talk about, I don't want to glaze over the cold. It is going to be frigid out there tomorrow morning. This is the HRRR model, and this is air temperature. When you factor in the wind chill, it's going to be about 5 to 10 degrees colder than this. So in some locations, we're going to be near zero or just slightly below zero for that feels like temperature Tuesday morning. Bundle the kids up as they head out to the bus stop in the morning. During the afternoon, those temperatures rebound. We're heading back to the 30s. Should get up to around the freezing mark here in London. And then we go into Wednesday morning, not as cold, waking up in the mid 20s, topping out maybe into the 40s on Wednesday. That's before everything comes crashing down. Let's show you how this all plays out with the European model. So, high pressure is in control Tuesday. That keeps us dry. Weak cold front comes in Wednesday. European model's going to rain snow mix. I think this is mainly going to be more rain than snow because of the surface temperatures. I think it's going to be a pretty similar setup to what we saw last weekend. But as we go into Thursday, that cold is just going to keep funneling in from Canada, and you're going to notice an area of low pressure start to spin up across the southwest and then push eastward as we go through the weekend. Now, the European model from earlier was going super aggressive on the snow for Kentucky. We're not going to take a look at exact totals, but the European track right now is leaning towards a mainly snow solution. That's one model's take. Here's the Canadian model. And the Canadian model's honestly been kind of kicking the American and the Euro models butt the last couple of weeks. It's showing snow and then changing over to freezing rain or sleet Saturday night into Sunday before going back to some light snow to end the event. So that's a little bit more of a further north track. The GFS model showing the rain on Wednesday, ending maybe as a little light snow, and then it is much further south, but still showing some light snow in here on Sunday. Not a lot, but enough to cause a few issues. So that's the three big long-range models. One of the other things we can look at is the Ensemble models and how they're taking a look at the forecast. So in Ensemble, like right now, I've got the European ensembles pulled up. The European ensembles take the core European model and then run 51 different versions of it, adjusting some of the variables, and then takes the average of that to give you a better forecast. So this is the probability of at least 1 inch of snow within 24 hours of 6 a.m. on Sunday, January 25th. So 24-hour chance of at least 1 inch of snowfall. The European model saying most of the state has above a 50% chance, close to a 70% chance in the southern part of the state. Canadian model, remember, it was showing that freezing rain or sleet coming in. It's got the snow chance farther north. GFS model chances are lower because it was further south. And then the MOGREFS model, which is another ensemble forecast, showing the highest chance of at least 1 inch of snow. So that's 4 different models takes on that. Here's, just for comparison's sake, the chance of at least 4 inches of snow. Canadian model showing a 30 to 40% chance of at least 4 inches of snow for a good chunk of the state. European model showing not much of a chance in northern Kentucky, south of I-64, 30 to 40% chance of 4 inches of snow. GFS ensembles, remember it was showing the storm farther south, less of a chance, 20 to 30%. MOGREFS, 50 to 60% chance. So that's another piece of data to look at. And once again, it shows how the ensembles are handling it. So here's what we know so far. All the models are showing some kind of big storm. All of them are showing cold air in place beforehand. The difference is in the track and intensity of the low pressure, and that's what adjusts the snowfall totals and brings freezing rain or sleet into the equation. Now, one other piece of data to show, the map you see has 2 different points of data plotted on here. This is assuming a 10 to 1 inch snowfall ratio, so 10 inches of snow for 1 inch of liquid precipitation. That's the map you see in the background. This is the Canadian model and the average of the Canadian ensembles. So it's showing a widespread kind of swath of 6 to 8 inches. That is the average. But it's also got the data plot on there of the range from the lowest member of the model to the highest end of the model. So notice there's a wide range even within the Canadian family. It's showing, just for example, Somerset, low end guidance of 3 inches, high end guidance of 20 inches, an average of about 11 inches. Now that's not saying that is what's going to happen, because I do not think right now, Somerset, you're getting 11 inches of snow next weekend. But I am saying that is what this model is saying. The European model, much, much lower. Notice it's got a chance of 0 inches of snow on the low end, higher end, 10 inches, but the average, 3 or 4 inches in southern Kentucky, less than an inch in northern Kentucky. The GFS ensembles, once again, big range. 0 inches on the low end in Pikeville, 22 inches on the high end, but an average of 3 inches. Now you're probably saying, Shane, what does this all mean? Well, what it means is we've still got a lot of data to sort through and a lot to process. We're not going to have a really good handle on this storm until probably a day or two before. We can start talking totals on Wednesday. We'll talk trends again tomorrow night. Here's my plan for the week. I'm going to probably do a short form video tomorrow, maybe in the morning. If not, I'll try to do one right after school. And then I'm probably going to do another long form video giving you the more up-to-date data tomorrow evening. Wednesday, once we get in that 3-day window, we'll start talking totals. Thursday and Friday, probably some live streams and multiple updates. So here's what you need to do to keep informed. If you are checking this out on Facebook or YouTube, like or subscribe, turn on notifications. I'm going to be sending a little bit out more than normal this week because a lot of folks are going to be wanting to know what's going on. How can we start preparing? What preparations do we need to make right now? Well, if it were me, make sure the car is winterized. Make sure the house is winterized and the heat is in good working order. Have a couple of days of food and water ready in case power gets knocked out, because if we do start seeing double-digit snowfall totals, power outages can become an issue. Have some supplies ready and just be aware. That's what we're in the phase of right now, preparing and watching the forecast closely. There is still a very real chance the cold air from Canada pushes this storm system farther south than what the models are seeing right now. We may get next to nothing. But there's also a chance that if that storm ramps up and gets a little bit stronger, they tend to come a little bit further north. That could be more of an ice setup for us than snow. Trust me, we either want nothing or we want light snow. We don't want to get in on the heavy snow. We definitely don't want to get in on the ice. I don't think this storm's going to go far enough north for Kentucky to go just plain rain. I don't see that happening with the sheer amount of cold coming down from Canada. Meteorologist I respect up from the National Weather Service office in Louisville, MJ, you guys may know him, said earlier he's seeing a lot of analogs to the February 2016 storm. I remember that storm. I was working at WYMT. It dumped over a foot in a good chunk of eastern Kentucky. Now, that analog doesn't mean that's exactly what's going to happen, but that lets you know there's that potential there. So a lot of potential, a lot of questions. I'm going to answer them the best I can. If you got questions, leave them in the comments on both Facebook and YouTube. Share this out. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this and sharing the latest as it happens, friends. So take care. I'm meteorologist Shane Smith. Stay weather aware, and we're going to track this winter storm this week. We'll see you in the next one.